Engagement Center, along with our friends over in the DOE at the Parent Community Network Center also. So without these collaborations, this kind of experience would be a lot more difficult. So we're really thankful to have all of these individuals. All right. Again, my name is Khalil Puana. At any time, please go ahead. We can ask questions. We have some support, and off we go. All right. As you guys should see right now, if you're having any technical problems today, we have a support team that is more than willing to help. You guys may hear some beeping in the background as friends are signing in. Everybody will be kind of jumping into our tech tips. How today's structure is going to work is every half hour for the next 2 hours, we will be repeating the same structure. We're going to be going over some tech tips, sharing some slides with you folks, and then whatever time is remaining that we have, we're hoping to play some relationship games. Pilina builders is what our team calls them, but of course they're just games that they're a lot of fun, and it helps us to get to know each other. It helps you guys to get to know us, and of course now in this digital platform world that we're living in, it helps us really to connect. So we're hoping that we get to that time. Now, if you are having any technical difficulties or any problems throughout the day, we do invite you to visit our website at ʻOhana Engagement at ksbe.edu, and we will have individuals there to support and really answer any of those tech tips. Now, we do realize that people are using multiple devices. So in that process, we're trying to figure out what helps, is most helpful for you folks, or even on our side with this platform going. So with that, if you guys do get kicked off, do not be alarmed. Go ahead and sign back on that same link, and that will work in the same process of tomorrow. Today, using the Sandbox link, we will jump you back into the Sandbox. Tomorrow, if you guys get kicked out of the conference, go ahead and re-sign on using that same link, and it should pop you right back into that room. Again, just log back in with the same email address. And of course, if you have internet issues, it's absolutely fine. Take a moment, breathe. It's okay. We all go through those things. And then, of course, jump back on. It's absolutely fine. We're not going to leave. Believe me, we're going to be here all day for you guys today and all day for you guys tomorrow. Moving into some of the fun tech tips that our team has developed. This lovely emoji is of our friend Auntie Trisha, who represents our team and does so much of our ʻOhana and helps us. And today we really wanted to talk about some of the tips that we're going to be seeing. Now, we know that muting our mic is pretty important for those of us that have been in any type of virtual platform. When we have multiple mics that are on and at the same time, you're going to hear background noise and we're going to hear scratching, and that's absolutely fine. It's okay if it happens. We understand that life does happen, but as much as possible, if we could mute our mics when turning on, we would like you to practice. Now, what I'm going to go ahead and do is I'm going to ask all of our participants right now, just as practicing, like I said, is I would like you to unmute your microphones and everybody try and talk at the same time, just so you folks hear what happens. Everybody turn on. Now, the beautiful thing, ladies and gentlemen, is that I have the ability to mute everybody. So if you guys do forget, it's absolutely fine. If you guys do hear that back noise, we know, hey, who's making that noise in the background? Find them up. No worries. We have a team that will be helping support, and we have that ability to go ahead and mute everybody at the same time. So again, let's practice that one more time. I'm going to ask everybody to turn on their microphones, find their microphone, that icon, and turn it on and start talking all at the same time. And of course, I have the ability to mute everybody. So again, ladies and gentlemen, if you guys hear that throughout the day, don't be alarmed. It's absolutely fine. Our team will be working on that to support you on that back end. Now, if it's something that you can't hear on your side, we always have to recommend that we turn the volume up a little bit, even on our devices. Sometimes as we're in meetings, we have turned them down, and of course we forget. So referring back to this slide, we want to make sure and let everybody know that on some point of your screen, you guys will find it. And now the various platforms, it may be on different locations. Some of it might be on that top corner. Some of it might be on a lower bar. Really what we're looking for is an emblem that looks similar to this, where it is unmute your microphone. Now, a lot of you folks are awesome and have already found it. So of course, we just want to go ahead and highlight and thank Auntie Trisha for that beautiful emoji that reminds us to mute our microphone. Awesome job, everybody. Moving right along, our next tech tip that we all are kind of getting familiar with is our turning off our camera. Now, it's absolutely fine. We do know that everybody's at home. Life does happen. If your keiki or ʻOhana or whatever it may be runs through the back of your cameras and things like that, that's absolutely fine. But we do want you guys to be aware that with this, that we may see you. For an example, if you guys do laundry and the kids unknowingly run behind to find their bibadis or the shirts or whatever, just let you know that, let the kids, keiki know that they're going to be on with all auntie and uncle them. But again, it's absolutely fine. It's a family engagement conference. That's what we're expecting. And of course, we want to make everybody feel welcome. So in thinking about that, Auntie Trisha has made this amazing emoji again that blocks her eyes because we don't want to see you, gang. It's okay. If there's things going on and you have to block, it's okay. We don't necessarily need to see you. There will be opportunities and there will be times throughout the breakout sessions that individuals may ask for you to turn on your camera. And of course, that's absolutely fine. So I'm going to give everybody 3 seconds to kind of look around your screen, find your camera button, and what I'm going to ask you guys to do is turn on your camera, because right now on my side, a lot of you guys are just little bubbles with little letters. So again, on the count of 3, if you found your camera button, I'm going to ask you to turn it on, give a quick shaka to everybody in the room, and then of course we'll turn it on. Are you guys ready? Here we go. 1, 2, 3. Who found the camera button? Let me see it. Turn them on. Oh, I see 3 friends, 4 friends. Oh, I see a couple more. Awesome. Hey, Nicole, Yoli, mahalo. Denise, mahalo. Awesome job. All right, gang. So that's basically really what we wanted to practice. We want to make sure that everybody's just feeling comfortable about finding their buttons and making sure everybody knows where it is. And it seems like even some of our friends are already doing awesome. So, of course, if you don't want us to remember, Auntie Trisha, if we don't want to see or you don't want us to see what's going beyond, you guys just have to remember to go ahead and turn off your cameras. Now, for some of our friends that I know are just signing on, do not fear that you feel like you signed on late. It's absolutely okay because we'll be repeating some of the same information you might have missed in the next half an hour. Right now, we're currently going over tech tips that Auntie Trisha has promoted for us. The first one, of course, was the turn off the mic. The second one was turn off your camera. The next one is our chat button. So this was a lot of time for Khalil because Khalil talks a lot. This is the one that helps remind me that I can't be talking that often. So throughout the conference and the experience, we are going to invite you to utilize the chat box. The chat box will be there to pose any questions that you guys might have, things that you guys, thoughts that you might come up, and of course questions that you may have for the presenter. Now today, you guys, we're going to just jump into the chat box and we're going to practice something shortly, but of course we want to encourage everybody to, if they have amazing thoughts, put them in the chat box. Allow people to share them because I'm sure people will have similar thoughts tomorrow. Today, of course, it's going to be about fun. Tomorrow, I'm sure it's going to be more about the in-depth thoughts you have. Now, some of the breakouts that you have tomorrow that have questions, it's absolutely fine if you're feeling like people aren't getting to them because we'll have a team again gathering those questions and making sure that you guys have access to them. So again, today is about family fun and practice, and here we go. So referring to the slide again, we know that this is the Uncle Khalil slide. We cannot talk too much. We're gonna look for the button. I'm gonna ask everybody to look on your screen. If it's the middle of the screen, your top of the screen, for some of your Apple devices, you might actually have to click on the screen so that it comes back up again, where it kind of vanishes behind. So what we're going to do is we're going to open our conversation button. As you guys can see, in our conversation chat, people are starting to welcome us. Yes, we have a lot of friends putting in our welcoming messages. Now, I want to play a little game and make sure that you guys can see. Now, I'm going to explain to you during this COVID time, I'm going to put in the food that I ate the most that has led to me gaining my COVID weight. Okay? So I want you guys to see. Now, if you got with demonstrating, now I put in a comment, of course, that I feel that I have been eating a little bit excessive of. And of course, that has helped. Now, oh, I see a lot of people putting their thumbs up in reactions. Amazing job, friends. That was things perfect. I see a lot of people responding with emojis and fun things. Awesome. That's really what we want. So we encourage you guys to take part of this, even today, tomorrow, and that's really about making it fun. Awesome job, everybody. Okay, let's try again. If you have found your meeting chat, I would like you to put a thumbs up next to somebody's name, next to somebody's hand. And to put those thumbs up, of course, if you scroll or put your finger right above the comment, you can put a little emoji or something like that. Of course, on your side, it's not an option. That's absolutely fine because, of course, all platforms may be a little different. Now, again, for our friends that are just signing on, that's absolutely fine. Please feel that you have not missed anything. We will be repeating our tech tips that we covered a little bit earlier in the next half an hour beginning at 11:30. Right now, we're just kind of going over the fun and having a great time. We're practicing some of our skills that we'll be using tomorrow, as well as the things that we're going to be using today as we get through our meeting here. Now that Auntie Tricia has not only talked about we cannot hear you with turning off your mic, Uncle Khalil with the, or excuse me, we cannot see you with the camera, and Uncle Khalil's with the mouth, we want to continue on because you guys are doing an amazing job. Thank you everybody for staying patient and participating. Now, if you guys are having any technical problems or you're like, hey, I don't see that box that Khalil was talking about, please go ahead and email ohanaengagement@ksbe.edu, and we have friends that are going to be there to answer your personal questions so that we can kind of really tailor the responses to your individual needs. Now, please, we're asking for everybody's grace as not all of us are still learning this technological world, but we do have friends that will be happy to support you if you guys do have any problems reaching out to that ohanaengagement@ksbe.edu. Right on. As we continue on, some of the tech tips that we wanted to, of course, share with you. For those of you guys that are just joining us, is our 3 important virtual norms. And a lot of us are familiar with this. It's the hear no evil, see no evil, and speak no evil. But of course, on our ʻOhana engagement team, it's Uncle Khalil, mute your mic. Uncle Khalil, turn off your camera. And Uncle Khalil, there's the chat box. Let's use that ahead. So, of course, this is some of the norms that you guys will see today and tomorrow throughout the day. And, of course, it just really helps for the process of keeping our meetings managed and very direct. Excuse me. All right. Excellent job, everybody. As we continue on, just a few more tech tips. And I'm excited because the less I get to talk, the more games we get to play. So, moving on, some more of the tech tips that we wanted to share with you folks is some of you guys, especially those of you folks that have either the full version of Microsoft Teams or that work with us over at Kamehameha Schools, will sometimes see a share screen button. Now, a share screen button, you do not have to worry about. If you don't see it, if you don't, like, Khalil, I don't see it, that's even better because we actually do not want you guys touching that at all. If you would like to take over this presentation and be like, Khalil, I'm tired of you talking, I want to actually share my screen and I want to take control of this meeting, that's the button you would actually choose. But of course, if you're actually content with what we're doing here so far, we encourage you guys just not to touch that button. Also, what that will happen is if a presenter is presenting and you just happen to push that, it will show your screen and of course take away the presentation from the other screen. So we encourage you folks as much as possible to stay away from the button. And again, those of you guys may not even see it. It's those people that have a full version of Microsoft Teams and may perhaps work at Kamehameha Schools. If you guys are not in that category, don't even worry about it. It's just something that we needed to cover. Another option that you guys may see that is in the options bar is a raise hand. It looks like a high five. It looks like a question. Some platforms are different. Now, this is an opportunity. Some presenters may encourage you guys to do this. Some presenters may ask you guys to do this in between the presentation so that they can stop and see and really address. For the purpose of us today, we're just going to have everybody practice raising their hand. We're just going to see it, make sure that we can do it. But of course, oh, there we go. I see some of our friends. Sherry Richard and Sherry, yes, lots of questions. I hope those aren't real questions because I'm not being clear. But yes, we're just practicing raising our hand. Now, if it happens and you raise your hand and you no longer have a question, of course, you hit it again, and that's how you lower your hand. So, of course, you can raise your hand and lower your hand. If for some reason your hand gets locked on the screen, one of our team members will go ahead and lower it for you. But please, again, do not feel offended in any way. If we're just assuming that people may have forgotten. Same thing with muting their screen, muting their microphone and things like that. If our team goes ahead and does anything for you folks, please do not feel offended. We just know that it's constant, even for us on reminders and meeting. So it helps out with a lot of people that we know that you guys are busy, and we're already thankful for you joining us for the day. So again, the raising hand option, if you guys do raise your hand throughout the presentation and nobody gets to it, please, again, go ahead. We ask you to type your question in the chat box so one of us can address it, or at least copy it to the appropriate individual to answer. Remember, the day of the conference, the internet service may kick us out, and that's absolutely fine. For those of you guys that are just joining us, we went a little earlier in an earlier slide where if you get kicked out, no stress, take a deep breath. We know that sometimes technology has those drawbacks. We will jump right back into the same meeting using that exact same link. It is possible for you guys to call in also. If video is not something that you're interested in and you would rather just hear the conference rather than see presenters or the screens, that's a possibility also. We do understand that people have kuleana to attend to, and if it's something that you would want to run in the background and just make it an audio session, you guys are able to do that too by just using your telephone and calling one of the numbers that are listed in the link. If you do click on the link, we can also share details if we're having technical difficulties. Again, if this is something that you're very interested in doing, I would advise you to email ohanaengagement@kspe.edu so that one of our team members can go ahead and get us through that, and of course, help you walk through whatever difficulties that we may be having. Now, I believe with Auntie Trisha's tech tips and with this sheet, I'm kind of excited because now it's really about the fun. We really wanted to invite everybody just to practice and have a time to jump on and build this pilina. Now, we understand that people have kuleana to attend to, so if you need to jump off and jump back in, do know that we will be repeating the exact same tech tips, and this time every half an hour, beginning again at 11:30. But I'm super excited because in the last 13 minutes, we have an opportunity to really get into the nitty-gritty of this family time and really how our team likes to share it. And that's the building of Pilina, getting to know some of our individuals in this room and starting to do some of these things. So just to cover the last tech tip sheet before jumping in this last 2 minutes is, of course, we're going to be muting our mics during the background noise. We want to use the chat to ask those questions. And if you do get logged off, by all means, you're welcome to just hop right back in. And now the fun begins. Now, friends, when putting together any meeting, we know that a lot of it is really about building collaboration. Sometimes we're meeting with others that we may not know. So in thinking of that, the way that our team really likes to introduce and have time to practice these skills that we went through is to play games and to really have these fun and to have time to respond. So the first opportunity, and we have approximately 12 minutes, I'm going to play my game for a little while, and then I'm going to most likely pass the opportunity over to Missy. Now, following the completion of this kind of Pilina time, we'll go ahead and turn back over and start our tech tips at that 11:30 time. So again, ladies and gentlemen, we do understand if you are here for the tech tips and do need to jump off to get back to the rest of your day, we truly do appreciate your time. But if you are choosing to join with us, we're excited to have you. Now on the screen, as anytime you want to build Pilina, you will see a kind of this virtual time. We know that it's a little harder to do these activities when we're not in the same room, but we found creative ways that we know that you guys might enjoy yourselves. This first Pilina build is something that our team does in the beginning of any conference situation or even a meeting to help ground us for our day, see how everybody's doing, and really kind of get a laugh out of some of everybody's responses. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to read a statement, and all I'm going to ask for, as I ask for a few volunteers, I'll go ahead and read a statement, and those volunteers will go ahead and answer the question. Now, we want the first thought. We don't need a lot of thought process. We don't need you guys to overthink. It's really what's at the top of your bubbles. Questions such as the one that I asked you. During COVID, I ate the most food, leading to my little bit of the tummy. And of course, we're going to be putting in the chat or even saying, I'm going to ask those individuals to respond and of course, share that information. So what I'm going to ask everybody to do and to practice some of our skills is I'm going to ask that anybody on our KS team go ahead and turn off their camera. And then I'm going to ask from our participation list for any volunteers, please, to turn on a camera. Oh, I have I have one. I just need 5 volunteers to turn on their camera. And of course, we will have you guys just share your answer. Now, it's not important. Like I said, it's about fun. It's about introducing each other. It's really about the relationships. And I'll go ahead and participate. Oh, if I might need a few more volunteers, can I have a few more volunteers to play with me? I have Grant, and I believe I have Maya. Am I saying that correctly, Maya? If you could go ahead and unmute your microphone and introduce yourself to the crowd. Mina?
Mena.
Mena, aloha, Mena. Thank you for playing. And Mena, you're so brave. We really appreciate you. And now we're going to ask you guys just to turn on your camera, and it's okay. It's perfectly fine. We're going to share each other. We have a few friends. And of course, we're going to be asking for some volunteers. Oh, Leho, awesome, Le. Thank you very much for volunteering. Hey, where did Mena go? See, I can see when Mena bounces out. Mena, where did you go? I thought you were going to play with me.
I'm here.
Okay. I'm here. Okay, you are here. Can you turn on your camera, Mena? If you turn on your camera, the rest of everybody else can see you too.
There, I got it on.
Okay. She might be coming in shortly. Uh-oh. We don't see Mena right now, but it's okay. Now we have another individual. I'm going to ask for one more person. I have myself. I have Grant. I have Lay. And of course, I'm going to ask for one more volunteer. One more. Somebody turn on their camera. Please, I don't want to have to volunteer, friends. Where is, if in my crowd, I see, let me see, Lance Ogata. Is Lance Ogata in the room with us today? Lance Ogata? If Lance Ogata is here with us today, could he possibly turn on his camera so we could see his handsome face?
Oh God, no. Must be the wrong. There must be another Lance in the room.
Okay. So really quickly, friends, I don't want to take up too much of our time. How this game works is with the people that are already responding, it's just learning about one another. Of course, we may not know each other. We may not have ever seen each other. And right now, we can't even see each other, but it's absolutely okay. So how we're going to do this is I'm going to go ahead and read a question. I'll go ahead and provide the first answer so that you guys don't feel embarrassed. One thought. And of course, we're going to go from we'll have me, then Lay, then Grant, then Mina, and then we have Lance. Okay, so Lance, you're going to close it up. So the question is, and so easy, friends, and how to ground us is, during my time with ʻOhana at home during COVID, I have learned to blank. Now, you guys have 10 seconds. Same thing like Jeopardy. Once that then ends, we're going to go ahead. Now, I will lead. Then Lay will respond. We have Grant, Mina, and bringing us all home, we'll have Lance responding on the back end. We have five more seconds to think about. During my time at home during COVID, my ʻOhana and I have learned to blank. Here we go. We have 5 more seconds. 5, 4, 3, 2, and 1. Our first Pilina questions for those of you guys just signing on. Our team of volunteers are asking, during their time at home during COVID, their ʻOhana has learned to do blank. My ʻOhana has learned to be patient with one another. Le?
Can you hear me?
Yes?
My ʻOhana how to read it out.
My ka'i, there you go. Grant?
I don't know if this is one word. My ʻOhana has learned to drink water with no ice.
Oh, my ka'i, that's a hard one, right? I mean, all of us are accustomed. That's almost like koho'olawe living. Grant, everything over there is warm for those of you guys. Awesome job. All right, Mina, we're working our way to you. During your time with your ʻOhana, you have learned to...
I have learned to communicate with them each day.
My ka'i, and that's something that we're all doing, right? We're learning to communicate with our ʻOhana. My ka'i, and bringing us all home, we have Mr. Lance. Lance, in your time with ʻOhana, what have yourself and your ʻOhana learned to do?
So I don't know if I can use one word, but we're all expert video conferencing family now.
Oh, my ka'i, and that's really something that is really unique to this time. It's learning to work through that. Awesome job. Everybody, we really want to thank you guys for playing, and it's building this Pilina. As you guys can see, it's just a lot of fun, and it helps us to get to know one another. Now, in this last few minutes, we want to make sure that everybody's feeling good. Everybody's make sure they're feeling supported. Remember, during this time, it's about family time, tech tips, and a few fun laughs at the very end. We're going to be starting again from the very top, starting at 11:30. So for those of you guys that are just joining in, please do not fear that you have missed out anything, because we will be starting again at the top in just a few minutes. Now, if for those of you guys that are feeling pretty proficient and they're tired of hearing me talk, we go ahead and invite you. You're welcome to join us tomorrow, because you folks are ready to go. We appreciate your time in practicing with us today. But if you're feeling a little hesitant and you're feeling, oh, I want to stay around, or like Mina, you might want to just play a couple games with us. That's absolutely fine that you guys stick around. Just know that this next time around, we most likely will be playing a different Pilina builder. And any of these that we're going to play with you guys today throughout the act, you guys will have access later at a point through your conference materials and some of the things. So of course, it's just fun ways that you guys can add things to the meetings that you folks are having. So again, we really want to thank everybody and for joining us today and taking the time out to practice our tech tips and go through our experience. We're really fortunate and excited to have this opportunity to have a statewide or almost US-wide, or even believe we even have some international attendees, guests tomorrow. So we're really fortunate of this opportunity to bring you this experience, and of course have you guys all join us for the fun. Now, again, if you guys are not feeling comfortable, you guys are welcome to email our support team at ohanaengagement@ksbe.edu for any specific tips that you folks may need or things that you would want to work through. But if not, we go ahead and thank you. We go ahead and invite you guys to either stay on and wait a few minutes as we give a few more of our friends time to sign on. Now it is about 11:27. We will be starting again with our tech tips at 11:30. Again, we really want to thank you guys for joining us today and taking this opportunity to practice and work out some of those digital kinks that we know all of us are having. Again, we really thank you for your time. We really thank all the collaborators in enabling us to do this experience for you folks. And again, have a wonderful, amazing day. Mahalo nui to everybody. We really appreciate you. And of course, for those of you guys that are sticking around, we'll start again in 2 minutes. For those of you folks that are deciding to join us tomorrow, we look forward to it. Please be aware that we will be starting promptly at 9 o'clock, opening with our keynote with Pono Shin. Thank you again on behalf of our team, Kamehameha Schools, the ʻOhana Engagement team, and of course, all the rest of our collaborators. We look forward to seeing you tomorrow, and thank you again. See you guys soon. We'll be starting again at 11:30.
Mahalo kaleo. Hee. Anaho.
Good job, Kaleo.
Team effort, gang. Team effort. The next one, what game you guys want to play? At least we can see. I know. I mean, that was a fun one. Like 5 people. That was cool.
Yeah,
that was
Kaleo,
no problem.
I don't think we need to do Missy Says, because I think all of your tech tips, you cover the practice, they practice, and so it's pretty much, I don't think Missy Says has to happen. You know what I mean?
Okay.
Because you kind of covered it in your, if you do the same thing you did last time, they're perfectly fine.
Okay. Sounds good, Missy. So we're gonna skip Missy's tech tips and we're gonna go through charades, or is it which one are we going to? Or Grant, which one? Who wants up?
Grant? I don't know, whatever. Grant.
Okay, we'll just go right down. So we're gonna I'll go ahead and we're going to not do power play. Okay, perfect. Awesome.
And Grant,
welcome back, everybody.
Oh, sorry.
It is about on my 11:29. I have just a few more seconds. Let me go ahead and queue up the slideshow for you folks, and we'll get ready to start. Again, for those of you guys just joining us again, welcome. My name is Kaleo Puano. We're really excited to have you folks today. I am so grateful to have the opportunity to represent Kamehameha Schools and our ʻOhana Engagement team in this family fun and, of course, tech tip practice. All right, we are Ma Call Call, and it is 11:30. So welcome back, everybody. We're super excited for those of you guys that continue to join us and joined us from last session. Thank you again. We really hope that you found that beneficial. We will be again revisiting some of those tech tips and going over some of the ones for some new friends that are joining us. So of course, at any time, we can go ahead and email ohanaengagement@kspe.edu if you have any questions. Again, aloha and welcome. My name is Kaleo Puana. I am so grateful to and blessed to represent our Kealapona Ohana engagement team and all the collaborators that are able to bring you not only the conference, but this practice session today. Jumping into it, we want to make sure that, of course, if you're having any technical problems or are feeling a little hesitant about this actual platform, we do have our Ohana engagement at kspe.edu support website that you folks are welcome to go ahead and email. At that time, I'm sure our amazing tech savvy individuals will be able to more address specific problems that you may be having with the platform. Now, throughout this time, we know that some of us are not as familiar with Microsoft Teams, and that's absolutely okay, because what we're doing here is kind of the practice of the skills that we're going to be needing tomorrow. As we continue, like I said, at any question, we will have another session beginning promptly at 12 o'clock. So if people are signing in or things come up, please feel free that you are able to jump in and jump out as helpful for you folks. Again, if you do get kicked out of today and you do get kicked out of this specific session, please don't be alarmed. Take a deep breath. We know that all of us do experience these technical difficulties, and you folks can go ahead and re-click on that link and it should jump you right back into this meeting. The same purpose is tomorrow. If you guys are in a specific keynote, or the keynote or any of the breakout sessions, if for some reason internet freezes or something happens, our best tip is go ahead and close it, and then you're able to jump right back into that same room. Now, please recognize that our numbers are getting up there, so we're super excited to host many people. So in signing up to the host, if you get kicked out of one room and are unable to access that room again, give it a few minutes, or we invite you to sign into a different room and kind of peruse it that way. Please treat it as thus, where we're encouraging you to stay in the specific breakout session that really speaks to you. But of course, we do know that people are interested in multiple sessions, and you guys are able to do that. Again, so if you guys do get kicked out of the session tomorrow, don't be alarmed. Even this afternoon or right now, if you guys do get kicked out, click right back on the link and you guys will be right back into our session. Now, if you are seeing things on the screen that may not look the same as your screen, it's absolutely okay, because we do know that each platform is different. But somewhere in their device, we may be able to find it. We may be able to kind of point it out to you folks so that we have a little bit easier time tomorrow. We're so very thankful that Auntie Tricia has provided our first tech tip of the day. And we know that a lot of times we need to have our mics muted. Now, in doing this, we know that it helps prevent the background noise. It helps prevent the fire engines. For those of us that live in apartment buildings or outside with construction, it helps isolate the sound to the presenter. So of course, it comes across a little bit different. What I'm going to ask you guys to do, and as Auntie Tricia's emoji says, is we are going to find the microphone button. It looks very similar. Now, it might be on the middle of your page. It might be on the top of the page. It might be, if you're using an Apple device, it might be where you have to actually click the screen so that the icon reappears. Some of the devices that we know that people use have that vanishing effect. The same way, if you touch the screen, the icons come up, and of course, after a few minutes or a few seconds, it vanishes so that you guys have a complete view of the screen. Now, if your screen is like that, we encourage you to try. If for some reason you are not finding this anywhere on your screen, go ahead and email us again, and we will happily walk you through that. But just fear not in knowing that I have the ability to mute everybody, which we are going to practice right now. So what I'm going to encourage everybody to do is find that mic mute button, and we're going to turn it on. Right now, only mine is on. So of course, the sound seems pretty clear. What I'm going to ask you guys to do, and for all of our friends in our room, is I'm going to ask you very shortly to unmute yourself, and everybody make noise, cheer like we're happy, cheer like we're excited about this thing. And you guys are going to see the difference. Are you ready? 1,
You're the
2,
best. You're the
3,
best.
everybody unmute.
You are the best. Okay, beautiful. Yay.
And ladies and gentlemen, as you guys can see, I have the ability, and all of us presenters do have the ability to mute you folks. So at any point of the presentation today or tomorrow, please don't take offense if you guys do get muted. We know that a lot of times there's things going on and we often forget. So our team will have the ability to go ahead and mute your mic. Now, if you guys have a problem with finding that mute, again, email us and we'll help you guys walk through your specific platform. But of course, do not worry about it, because if you can't find it on your side, I'll go ahead and mute it for everybody on our side. So again, do not worry. Awesome job. Here we go. Moving right along. This first tip is, of course, if we can hear you. The second one that we have, Auntie Trisha has posed for us, is the camera check. Now, we know a lot of the times we kind of hide. Yeah, we can multitask. We can do all kinds of stuff in the background if we turn off our camera, and that's absolutely fine. But sometimes we forget to turn off our camera, and what happens is the rest of life happens. Our cake are behind us, things are happening behind us, and of course, sometimes we don't even know. If that does happen, that's absolutely fine. This is a family engagement conference. We do expect families to be a part of it, especially now that you folks are home. So please don't be alarmed, and we don't have to yell at our kiki or whatever it may be if they do run in the picture. It's absolutely fine. Again, what we're gonna ask is we're gonna be looking for the camera tip. Now, on my computer, it's kind of specifically right in the middle of the screen. Some of your computers, again, it might have to be on the top. What I'm gonna ask you folks to do is find that camera, and I'm going to give everybody a few seconds to kind of look around on their screen, kind of check it out, move it around. And what I'm going to ask you, our friends, to do is we have approximately 33 friends with us here right now. We might not see all 33 friends at once, but what I'm going to ask you guys to do is turn on your camera and give a big shocker to the rest of us, everybody in there. I see Grant and Peace. Oh, I see some of our other friends turning on their camera and giving the shockers. Awesome job, folks. Awesome job. Just know that it's absolutely fine if your camera goes on. But of course, if you want to keep it hidden and you don't want things to happen, just be conscious that long as the camera has the X sign, or as long as it has that mark through it, it is not showing. The same way with the microphone. If there's the mute button off, or the line through the button, your screen is not showing. So currently, there's just a few friends showing on our screen, along with a whole bunch of bubbles on the bottom, which is absolutely fine. Right on, everybody. Excellent job. Here we go. The next text tip, of course, that Auntie Trisha has put together with us is the chat box. Now, this is one that I get encouraged to use a lot, as you guys probably can already start to realize. Uncle Khalil talks a lot. So with the chat box, we encourage you guys to do the same, but of course we can't unmute our microphones because we've already seen what happens when that happens. What we're going to encourage you guys to do is write any questions, concerns, comments, thoughts that you guys may have in that chat box. Now I'm going to give everybody the opportunity in just a few seconds to find that chat box on your screen. It's going to be like it looks like a little message bubble. Again, if you are on an Apple device, you might have to physically click the screen again so that the message options come up. And what I would like you to do is write a comment once you do find that meeting chat and show everybody aloha. Welcome everybody. Say hello to friends that you guys may know that sign in. Oh, thank you, Kathleen. Hello. And Joycelyn. Perfect. Everybody seeing. And Jody. Hi, everybody. It seems like everybody's found it. So, of course, if you have not yet found it or still having a little bit of difficulty, it's okay. That's what we're here to do, and that's what we're here to support. Again, at any time, you guys are able to email that ohanaengagement@kspe.edu to address to any questions. Or, of course, we may even be able to work out some of them now. And with the chat bubble, if you guys are writing questions either today or even tomorrow, please do not feel that we may not be able to address everybody's questions at the same time, but know that we're going to gather everybody's questions and we're going to compile, and we will be giving them to the presenters. Now, if you guys have specific questions for me, by all means, I'm checking the chat. I will happily answer those. But for tomorrow, for an example, if you do have questions and you do have things that you want to put up in the chat box, we will have moderators and facilitators there for the day that will be gathering all those questions and turning them back to the presenter. So again, please don't feel offended if your question is not answered during the session, because it will be answered at a later time. And again, you folks will have all those access to the conference materials at the conclusion of the conference. So let me check our chat box one more time to make sure. Hey, good morning from Mr. Lance Ogata. We like it. And Julie, oh, we have some expert users. As some of you guys will see in the chat box, we have emojis and we have pictures. Now, for some of the avid users, that's absolutely fine to do that. If you guys don't know how to do that, it's okay too. That's not necessarily an option that we're gonna need for tomorrow. But we encourage you guys to play around if you guys want to, so that you guys can learn. Moving right along, of course, that's the chat button, and that is that famous Uncle Kaleo. To go over real quickly, for those of you guys that have just signed on and just joining us again with our tech tips, Auntie Trisha's beautiful emojis replicate the see no evil, hear no evil, and speak no evil. But our ʻOhana Engagement Edition is, of course, the mute your mic, Kaleo, turn off your camera, Kaleo, because we can see you, and of course, Kaleo, that question can go in the chat. So if we use those kind of text tips, we're going to have a very fun day. And of course, again, please do not feel offended throughout the day if you guys are getting muted, or if we lower your hand, or anything of those options. Because again, we're just wanting to keep it on task for our presenters and make sure that everybody's questions are reached at the later point. Awesome. We're moving right along, everybody. We next have the more screen tips for those of us, and this might be options that you might be thinking about, but might not be pertinent for you exactly. So these are the categories. If you are a Microsoft Teams user that has a full edition, now if your school has either paid for that to have it, or personally, if you guys have downloaded it, you guys have the full edition. Also, if you work at Kamehameha schools or do collaborations with us, you may also see this. Now, the next thing that we are not going to talk about is the share screen button. For some of you folks, we know that we're able to share the PowerPoints and share the screens. Now, if you do see this icon, on some computers, it looks like a square with an arrow. If you do see this icon and would like to take over our presentation for the day, we invite you to go ahead and try it out. But of course, if you are more of the kind of like me that wants to sit low key in the back and just listen and participate, we're going to ask you folks to not touch the share screen button. Now, again, if you do not fall into that category of working at Kamehameha schools or having the full version of Microsoft Teams, you may not even see this option. If you don't see this option, that's perfect. It's not even something that you guys will have to worry about. But we wanted to address it just in case you do see it and people were curious about what it does. So of course, the share screen button is something that we're going to eliminate there so that we aren't cutting off any of the presenters tomorrow. Also, with the raising hand option that some of you guys have been doing and raising your hands, we encourage you guys to do so. But again, please don't feel discouraged or offended if we aren't able to address it or reach it or kind of get to it at that time, because we are, as like I said, going to be gathering a lot of those questions and posing them at a later time. For a lot of our friends that I see are just signing on, fear not that you have not missed anything, because we will be repeating all the tech tips again at 12 o'clock coming up. But if you're joining us just now, fear not, you're almost to the best part, because we're about to play some games. So again, the last few things on this slide, if you guys do get kicked off and you guys are kicked out of the meeting, or you have an internet related issue and get kicked out, not a problem. Take a deep breath and go ahead and sign back on using that same exact link. And of course, if you are interested in only listening to it via your phone and not necessarily seeing the video, that is a possibility also by using just the call-in phone number. Instead of clicking on the Microsoft digital link, you guys are able to use the call-in phone number. And again, if this is something that you prefer or interested in and are having difficulty with, please go ahead and email ohanaengagement@ksbe.edu, and our tech tips team will help you kind of facilitate that and get that going. We do invite you to join us through video though, so that you guys are able to see our other friends in the rooms, and of course, hearing the amazing session breakouts that we are having, you guys might want to be able to see. So if you aren't able to see now and want to see and only hear now, that's something that we're able to work out through this time. So we invite you to email ohanaengagement@ksbe.edu. The last final slide before we jump into the nitty gritty of the fun is really talking about the reviewing of what we've learned today. We want to make sure our mics are muted during the presentations to eliminate as much as possible the background noise, the fire trucks, the nail guns, the construction sites, whatever that may be having in the back. Maybe it's our ʻOhana having school and learning. We do realize that some parents are going to be multitasking tomorrow, and not only are they going to be joining us, but we'll be helping their keiki with kula in school. That's absolutely fine. If you mute yourself, again, you guys can also facilitate your keiki and do that too. So it just helps drown out that background noise. Of course, if there's any questions, concerns, comments, or thoughts, you guys are free to use that chat box option and put them in. But of course, for those of you just joining us, we have just reviewed that. Please do not feel offended if we do not get to your question or lower your hand or even mute your mic, because of course, we're just helping to manage that action. But again, if you do have any thoughts, concerns, comments, we invite you to write them in the chat box tomorrow during your breakout sessions. And of course, our team will compile those for us and turn them back to the presenter so that they, of course, can address your question in its entirety when they have the opportunity. And the last tech tip that really is a large concern, and a lot of us experience this because of the high demand of bandwidth and even internet, even in our own houses, in our households, that if you guys do get kicked out, it's absolutely fine. Using that same link that you signed on in the morning will jump you right back in the session at its current spot. If you folks are in a breakout session tomorrow and get kicked out, the same principle, you would click on that link and automatically be jumped right back into that session. Now, one of those things, and I will have to caution you, because there are caps on various sessions, if you do get kicked out of the link and are unable to sign back into that specific session, we invite you to kind of wait a few minutes, try again, and if it's you're not able to do it, we invite you to kind of check out a different, sign on to another session. We will have multiple sessions running tomorrow to accommodate all the individuals. So of course, how we're able to do that, how we're able to kind of really get that handled for you folks is to the best of our ability. We want to make sure that we are meeting everybody's needs. So again, if you guys get kicked out, jump back on. If a specific breakout session that you are that are interested in is full, we invite you to kind of check out another one. And of course, you're welcome to sign back onto the original one if that's the one it's just a matter of having one attendant leave and having another attendee leave, and having another one jump on. So again, if you're just joining us, we're really excited to have you guys and welcome to our 2020 Tech Tips version. It's family friendly. If you guys have things to have any questions, please go ahead and email ʻOhana engagement at kspe.edu. And fear not, you have not missed anything, because in the next half an hour, beginning again at 12 o'clock, we will be reviewing our tech tips and of course, doing that same practice just to get everybody familiar. Now, if you're not feeling comfortable and you're hoping that, Kaleo, that's good for me, then we invite you. We know that we have kuleana. We bid you a fond farewell. We thank you for your time and we're excited to see you tomorrow. But for those of you guys that are wanting a little bit more opportunities to practice, we invite you to stay out with us for a little while longer as we jump into a few of what our team calls our Pilina builders, which is really opportunities for us to practice some of the skills we learned today and meet some of our friends that will be continuing tomorrow, joining us tomorrow. Now, the first session, I just wanted to share the slide that we had. The first session we had the opportunity we did a virtual Pilina builder called Proverb Play, where I read a cue about the things that caused me to gain the most weight during COVID. And we had amazing individuals share. And of course, some of the things another question that was posed was things that our ʻOhana have learned during COVID. And of course, it's just an opportunity to share. This next time though, for those of you that have joined us for our second session, we have another opportunity and another Pilina builder brought special guests. And of course, through what is called Pictionary. Now, we're going to be allowing, and I'm going to be turning this opportunity over, and we have approximately another 10 minutes to try this. Now, if you do not have an opportunity to participate, this is an opportunity just to kind of check it out and maybe integrating it in some of your meetings, the kind of things that you enjoy to do. Now, fear not, you guys will all receive any Pilina builder that we participate today. You guys will get as part of the conference materials, and you guys will have the ability to kind of reference them, and please do make them your own. So at this time, I would like to get my special friend and guest, Mr. Grant Murata, who will be leading us through our Pictionary game. I'll go ahead and turn off my camera as practice, so of course, you guys will see Grant and the PowerPoint. So if I vanish in the background, please don't be alarmed. Again, ladies and gentlemen, thank you for joining us. And I'm going to turn it over to Mr. Grant Murata. Thank you. Let's give him a virtual round of applause.
Aloha, folks. So for those of you who play Pictionary, the idea was simply how can we play this virtually? So what I'm going to do is in Teams, and I know this is available in other virtual applications as well, there is a way to do a whiteboard. So we talk about sharing, and I can share a whiteboard. And so if you're using Microsoft Teams and using other applications, you can start this up and people can access it. So what I'm going to ask, and if you've played Pictionary, this will be very easy, just to demonstrate how to use the tools. Would anyone like to volunteer to do a few samples? So if you are interested, please go into the chat that Kaleo showed, click on the little text bubble box on the screen and put your email address, and I will email you something. So we'll just wait for a few seconds. Okay. I have a thumbs up. Okay, so one of the things that if you are running this game with people that you know, you're going to have their email addresses probably, or their phone numbers. You can text them, because one of the things that you want to make sure you do is you have an ability to send them a clue that no one else can see. So if we do it through the chat, right, everyone's going to see it. One of the things that you could do that we've talked about as a team is if you're having younger kids do it and you don't want to worry about sending things over text messaging over emails, you can actually just have everyone close their eyes, show your face, don't look while I send something over the chat or I flash something on the camera so that the person who's going to be drawing can see. Okay, so in the meantime, I just sent Kaleo a clue, and Kaleo, if you can just unmute your mic and say you got it when you got it, and we will start the timer and let him go. And so as you figure out Pictionary and how you want to do it, right, finding the clues, figuring out how much time you want to give for the person, and basically if they're successful in drawing it, then they get a point. And you can go through, have multiple people do it, do different rounds, different levels of difficulty. It's just like Pictionary, but you can use all the virtual tools on the whiteboard. Okay, so Kaleo, did you get it?
Yes, I'm ready from when you are, Grant.
Okay, you have, because of time, you have 20 seconds. You ready? So using the whiteboard, you can use your mouse, click on one of the pens, and you can start drawing on the screen. Ready, set, go. That's 5 seconds. And if people know, unmute your mic and yell it, or put it onto the text box if you know the answer. Oh, that's a nice picture.
Coconut tree.
Very good.
Yay!
Good job.
New.
My Kai.
Okay, so we'll do the next one. I'm going to send it to Missy, who volunteered as well. And so this is like part of preparing for a game like Pictionary, is you want to make sure there's clues, as we talk about in some of the resources that we're going to give you folks after the conference. Right, there's places on the web you can search. Right, if you're thinking I'm not creative enough, how do I find out clues to give? Well, you can Google search it, and there's lots of different resources available. So let's send this to Missy. Let me see if you can unmute yourself and say you're ready to go, and then we'll start it up.
Okay. Wait now.
Oh, so
okay.
You're
Okay. Oh, you know what? Sorry. Here we go.
no, here we go. We're going to go back to the whiteboard. Right? Do you see the whiteboard? You have the clue?
Yeah, I do. Okay.
Okay, ready? So 20 seconds. Ready, set, go.
Oh.
And if anybody knows it, you can write it in the chat box, or you can speak it over the phone.
Wait.
Oh.
I don't have the whiteboard. Sorry. Okay.
So Aaliyah just let us know through the chat that folks can't see the whiteboard if you are not part of the organization. So that is something that we had not seen before. So there are, and just as a, so if you're using Zoom, I know that's available for anyone who's participating because Zoom is just a generally more accessible tool. There are tools you can use that are outside of Teams if you really want to do whiteboard and you're intending to do it with people outside of your organization. Just for today, that we thought we would try to demonstrate it on Teams, but there are many, many tools that are available over the internet for free that people can use for this kind of game. Okay, so Missy, I don't know if we want to show more. Just a couple of tips if you're doing Pictionary. Just you will find that there are going to be people who are extremely creative in what they draw, and just have a lot of fun. You can do this very simply by just picking clues that are going to be age appropriate, context appropriate, where people can just do this and at least laugh a little bit together.
Yeah. Okay.
So Kaleo, I turn it back over to you.
Yeah. May ka'i. And they got it. People chatted, and it is the lima, the hat.
I'll take it. Perfect. Awesome job, friends. We really appreciate it. And like Grant was saying, today is about family fun, and it's really about the graces. We know that some of these opportunities might not work well on because we have so many different platforms signing in. But of course, this is just an opportunity for us to practice and see some of the unique things that I'm sure some of us have seen, maybe some of us wanting to do in our own meetings. But of course, it's just an opportunity. So we do apologize that for some reason some people couldn't see the whiteboard. But again, we know that this providing you folks that information, you guys will make it your own and make it fun. And like Grant and Missy were saying, the opportunity is just about building Pilina, getting to know each other. And for us guys, really, it's about all the laughs. They give us the funny pictures, they give us the funny things, and it's really about having that opportunity together to, maybe change the topic. Not necessarily always jump right into kind of the work-related things, but really have that time so that we can ground each other on our intent for the day and really our experiences and having that fun. So again, we want to thank you all for joining us today for our tech tips, and really we want to just encourage you guys to keep on practicing. If you guys want to stay with us for another session, by all means, we're going to be starting again at 12 o'clock for another tech tips opportunity where we're going to be reviewing some of those same skills, some of the same pictures, and of course, we'll try another Pilina a game to jump in to continue on the fun. Now, again, we know that and understand that people have kuleana to attend to and have other responsibilities. If you guys are feeling confident and what kind of knowing where the buttons are and kind of signing on for tomorrow, that's basically what we have for you. And we want to bid you a farewell and thank you for your time and the opportunity to even share this space with you folks. Again, we are going to be seeing you guys promptly at 9 o'clock for Anakala Ponoshim, who will be sharing a huiho, or excuse me, I read that slide, I apologize, will be sharing their opportunities in his mana'o. And of course, we were going to wish you a huiho and farewell for those of you that are signing off. But for those of you that are choosing to do another session with us, we're going to be repeating our tech tips again, starting in just a few minutes. It is now about 11:58. We'll be starting again at 12 o'clock. So for those of you guys that are joining or signing off, and we bid you a farewell and aloha, and we'll see you tomorrow morning. And for those of you staying with us, we'll be giving just a few more minutes and we'll be starting again. So again, mahalo, ahuiho, and malama pono. Thank you, folks. All right, welcome, ladies and gentlemen. We have a few more seconds. If you're just signing on, aloha and welcome. My name is Kaleo Puana. I am happy and honored to represent Kamehameha Schools, our Kealapono department, and especially our ʻOhana engagement team. We will be standing in just a few seconds as we allow a few of our friends to sign on. If you are joining us from the last session, get ready, buckle up, because we're going to do it again. And for those of you guys that are new, buckle up, because it's already been a rough one as we're getting there. But it's been a lot of fun, and we're having a lot of great laughs. So again, we're going to invite you guys at any time. You know, this is a family engagement conference. It's going to be a family kind of time. If there's individuals, if you need to hop off to get something with your ʻOhana, that's absolutely fine. Fear not, you guys will not miss anything, because we have one more hour of session to go over tech tips and of course have fun with us together. So as individuals are signing on, we'll give them just a few more seconds and we'll start to go through our sides. But of course, aloha kako, my name is Kaleo Puana. I am so very blessed to represent our ʻOhana engagement team in Kamehameha Schools and the rest of our collaborators that are making this experience possible both today and tomorrow. So of course, welcome to our fall 2020 virtual ʻOhana Engagement Conference Sandbox. This really is an opportunity to address any tech tips that we may be able to provide, but also it provides you guys the opportunity to practice some of the skills that we might be using tomorrow. So that's absolutely fine. Now, if you can, as long as you can see the overhead or the PowerPoint and you guys can hear me, that's absolutely fine. We'll kind of practice our skills together and we'll have a lot of fun. So again, welcome to all of our friends here in our meeting. For those of you guys joining us again, get ready. And of course, for those of you guys that are new, we're hoping that this session has the opportunity to provide some tech insights and really address some of the issues prior to signing on for our conference tomorrow. So aloha, here we go. The first slide, or the first aspect that we want to talk about, is we are blessed to have the support of many individuals making this possible. So if at any time throughout this presentation or throughout tomorrow's conference, if you guys do have concerns or problems or technical issues or any issues whatsoever, feel free to go ahead and email ohanaengagement@ksbe.edu. Again, that's ohanaengagement@ksbe.edu. And we will have individuals answering emails, responding to tech support questions, and anything that we may be able to address for you and make it a beneficial and helpful experience. We do realize that with the bandwidth and with everybody's internet and with Keiki being in school and having to sign on, that people will may have internet issues, and that's absolutely fine. You know, like I said, it's a family engagement activity. It's absolutely to have those family things come up. If you do get kicked out of tomorrow's meeting or even today's meeting, go ahead and click right back on the link and you folks will be popped right back into this session. Or in the sake of tomorrow, if you guys are in a breakout session and happen to get kicked out, you folks will be able to sign back in using that same link. So again, please don't fear, take a deep breath. We know it's frustrating. We all go through that thing. We all go through that situation, but we're going to be here to support you folks, and we'll be here to help in whatever way that we're able to. Now, the first tech tip slide that we have for you folks is created, of course, based on the hear no evil, see no evil, and speak no evil. But in our ʻOhana engagement team, it's hear no more kaleo, see no more kaleo, and speak no more kaleo. So we're going to be going over some fun tech tips and things to think about as we kind of go through this. But of course, Auntie Tricia went and did this amazing emoji for us that really talks about the muting of the microphones. Now, we understand that every platform, or every device that we're using, or even the platforms that we've been accustomed to using, may be a little bit different. So we're going to have the opportunity now to move around our cursors and find these items so that tomorrow when we sign in, we're feeling good and confident in being able to kind of do all the different options that we're going to be providing. So what we're going to be asking you guys to do is to find somewhere on your screen a button that looks like the one Trisha highlighted, that looks like a microphone. Now, we've realized that some devices, it's going to be in the top corner. Some devices, it's going to be in the middle. Some devices, you may actually have to touch the screen to make the icons reappear. We're noticing that a lot of the Apple devices, iPads, if you touch the screen, it may reappear. Depending on your personal settings, you might have that vanishing, so the taskbar vanishes. But again, if you don't see it, don't be alarmed. This is an opportunity for us to practice and find it. And if we're having difficulty, you're welcome to go ahead and email ohanaengagement@ksbe.edu. So in just a few minutes, I'm going to give everybody 5 more seconds to find that mute your microphone. Now, this works on a twofold because not only does this enable you to mute your side so they don't hear your background noise, but this enables everybody to hear clearly. So what we're going to ask you guys to do, for those of us that have already found our microphone mute buttons, right now only my microphone is unmuted, so the sound seems pretty clear, and I'm thinking, because I haven't got any thumbs down from my team yet, that you guys can hear pretty well. What I'm going to ask everybody to do is, on the count of, when I count to 5, everybody unmute their microphone and say aloha, and however it may be. And you guys are going to see the difference of when we have one person's mic unmuted, or excuse me, open for discussion, and when we have everybody's mic. So, okay, here we go with my 20 plus participants in my room, and including my team members. On the count of 5, we're going to unmute our microphones, and we are going to give a big aloha to everybody. Okay, are you ready? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody unmute and say aloha. Everybody come back.
Aloha.
Oh my goodness. Oh my.
Oh, can you hear me?
The background, I can't hear. Oh, and ladies and gentlemen, as you guys can see, I have the ability as the moderator to mute everybody. So this brings up another point that we would love to address with it. If for some reason tomorrow or even today, you folks the mic just happens to become unmuted. If you guys get kicked out and sign back in, oftentimes we forget to have to remute our mic, which is absolutely fine. Our team has the ability to go ahead and mute your mic. So even if you're an individual that was unable to find that mute your microphone icon, do not fear, because I will be able to go ahead and do it on your side, on my side. So feel like, oh my God, Claire, I never see him. I don't know what's going on. Don't worry. We want you to be here tomorrow with us. We want you to feel confident. And don't worry about some of these tips, because we're able to help you on our side handle some of those needs. So again, for the sake of tomorrow, we're going to leave all our mics muted. If you sign on and your mic just happens to be on, don't be offended if you one of our team members go ahead and mute you folks, or even kind of turns off that sound. Now, it's just to kind of keep the flow of the day, and of course to make sure that everybody can hear in the background. So again, thank you, Auntie Tricia, for our first of the mute your microphone. And this one is good for our team because they can just mute Kaleo most of the time. But right now, it's my turn, so it's okay. Moving right along, we have our next slide of a helpful hint that Auntie Tricia. And this is we don't want to see you, Kaleo. Turn your camera off. I don't know what you're doing in the background. Now, again, if you don't mind the rest of our conference ʻOhana seeing what's going on behind you folks, that's absolutely fine. We encourage you guys to show your camera because we know that it's a family engagement conference. If your family is seen in the back, it's okay. So, of course, if you have your camera on, just be aware that, people will be able to see behind you. If you don't want to count your camera on, and as many of you guys have already known, you guys are able to turn that camera button off using that same kind of photo that Tricia has indicated on the slide. Somewhere on your device, again, in the bar of options, you will have the turn on or turn off your camera. What I would like to invite you guys to do right now is, if you can or have already found that camera, we invite you to turn it on. You're welcome just to turn it on real quickly, see what happens. You guys will notice that your views may change. Don't be alarmed. And of course, you guys will, of course, see a little bit different things. But of course, if you guys are feeling comfortable, it's not a big deal. I see some of our friends turning on their camera. All right. Lance, we see little bit faces. And of course, when I turn off my camera, I go away, but the slideshow stays. And of course, some of our other friends stay on there. So again, we just want to make you guys aware that if you do have your camera on, that people will be able to see behind you. And that is an option that we are unable to control. So if you are concerned about your background, that's something that you guys will have to turn off on your side, and of course take kind of that lead in doing. We can handle the mics and some of those background items, but of course the camera, that's something that you guys will have to do. But again, it's okay if you had just washed laundry and your ʻOhana and your keikis was running in the back of you, no more shirt and bibbidi trying to find the laundry. Again, it's absolutely fine. It's a family engagement conference. Those are things that we're learning to work through this experience. So again, it's absolutely fine. We love that, the family dynamic. We know that everybody's home with their ʻOhana, helping their ʻOhana, and really spending time. So that's okay. Moving right along is the famous one that our team, I think, uses or would like to use the most often with me is the we don't want to hear you anymore, Kaleo. You have talked enough. So if that happens or you have thoughts or processes, the things that come to mind, we invite you to click on or find somewhere on the screen the chat button. Now, the chat button looks like a little message bubble, like Trisha said, or kind of a chat test. It might even look a little bit different on your screen. But of course, we would like you to go ahead and practice clicking on that, see what happens. Your screen might change a little bit. What might happen is a little bar might pop up on the right-hand side, just allowing you more visual access to things going on. We would like to invite you folks to put any comments or thoughts or anything throughout the chat. But again, please give us the grace in knowing that there might be a lot of individuals there tomorrow, and we might not be able to get to everybody's question. Hi, Kanani. Thank you very much. Oh, great job. Oh, yeah, I see some other. Oh, thank you, Grant. I think you're a little biased, but I appreciate the kind words. Now, what we want to be able to do is make sure that everybody's thoughts and everybody's feeling like they're, being heard. So if you have a question tomorrow, go ahead and put that in the chat box. And that's why we want to really practice showing you folks how to get in there, how to kind of write your messages. Please do know, though, whatever question that you do put up into the chat box, it will be visual or it will be able to be viewed by all participants in that room. So, of course, if there's something that maybe you only wanted to share with the presenter or with everybody or something else, we'll be able to provide you guys email addresses that you guys can email some of those things directly to us if you're not feeling comfortable. But a lot of the time, it's a lot of the alohas that we're thanking the presenters, and we're going to be sharing that also. So anything that you guys put in the chat box, whether it be alohas and mahalos to the presenters for their kuleana and their ike and their mana'o or whatever it may be, to questions that might be posed, all of those things will be gathered on behalf of our team. So even if your question is not addressed during the session, we will have the opportunity to get it heard and addressed at a later time. So again, no fear, people. We want to make it as friendly and as fun as possible. All right, here we go. You guys are doing amazing. Moving right along, it is just the review of course, the hear no kaleo, see no kaleo, and the speak no more kaleo. We heard enough of you. But of course, we want to thank Auntie Tricia for giving us this visual, visual reminder of the tips. And of course, we invite you guys to create your own in the meetings. A lot of the things that you guys will see today, you might be able to be like, hey, I kind of like that they had that. We want to make it our own. By all means, we'll be happy if that's a question of how we were even able to do that, or, we will happily direct you if you guys email ohanaengagement@ksb.edu. We'll happily direct you to an individual or some of that information that will help you guys take whatever you guys may see today beneficial and, of course, implement it in your own kind of meetings and things like that. So, of course, it's the mute your mic, check your camera, and turn on or check the chat. Some of the last few screen tips that we have to talk about is kind of for those of us that may work at Kamehameha or may have the full version of Microsoft Teams. We know in many of the platforms that we joined today, there is a share screen button. Now, that takes... For those of us that may not be as familiar, when you share your screen, you are not only, for me, how it is, I'm sharing my screen with the presentation. If you folks happen to press that button tomorrow, for those of you that may see it or have it, what will happen is you will take control away from the actual presenter, and we're going to make you present, which will, again, be fine because we know that so many people have so much to offer. So, but again, it's okay if it happens. We're working through the technology age, and it's things that we're practicing. So the two the two ways that you will have this share button, and if you don't see it, it's not a big deal. If you don't see any place on your button that looks like a square box with a little arrow, you're actually perfect. That's where we need to be. This tip is more for the Kamehameha users, any of our friends that do a lot of collaborative work with us that have the full version of Microsoft Teams. You will have the ability to, in essence, share your screen. We just want to let everybody know that tomorrow that's not an option that you guys will be needing to play with or be needing anybody to do. So, of course, we can just leave that one alone. With the raising our hand, like we talked about earlier, if you guys want to raise your hand and if you guys have that option. Now, some of the options that we might be discussing might not be available on your specific platform or the device that you're using, and it's okay because a lot of the things are in addition to our bonuses to what we really need you folks to be able to do. So, of course, if you guys have the raising your hand option and your hand is raised, just know that because a lot of the time our presentations are concise because the time is, we're only allotted so much time, most likely those questions will lower your hand and we'll ask you guys to write your question to us in the chat box so that we can compile it later. If there's an emergency or you needed something immediate, we invite you to, again, email the ʻOhana engagement at ksbe.edu, where people will be monitoring that throughout the entire conference and our experience here today. So again, it's a lot easier to get a response through that email for your specific question. Again, so if you guys have your hands are raised or your mic is on and we need it muted, don't be offended if we mute your mic for you or lower your hand. Again, that's just to let you know that, oh, we seen it. Oh, thank you, so-and-so. Thank you, Auntie Donna. We see that you had a question. We made sure to mark it. We've lowered your hand. So it's just a way that you can visually even see that your question has been accounted for. So that's absolutely fine. The last helpful tip, as always, is because of the technology challenges, when the bandwidth and everybody's signing on, if you guys do get kicked out, you guys can sign right back in using that same link, and it will link you up right to the original breakout session. Or if today you get kicked out, it will link you right back here with us. I think I'm getting excited because we're getting close to the end of the time. Now, we know because this is a family engagement conference, this is a lot of the nitty-gritty that helps us be successful tomorrow. But what really our team likes to do when we have this opportunity to share space with individuals is learn a lot about people. So before we get into that, of course, you guys see the last slide is really what Trisha put together for you folks. Is the mics will be muted during our presentation time. We're going to be using our chat boxes to ask any questions. And of course, if you will get logged off, if you get kicked off, you're welcome to log back in. For those of you guys that have joined us from our first session, I see some people have continuous throughout our whole time. You know, we really want to thank you guys for staying with us, and we're really hoping that you're finding this helpful. But the best part about today, and besides hearing me talk, is getting into what our what our Department of Ke'alapono and what our meetings are about. And it's really about building Pilina, and it's about this relationship between families, and even how do we do this in this virtual space. For those of you guys that were in our first session, we went through this Pilina Builder where I asked simple questions about what we might have learned through our time here at COVID, where we could have a round robin answer to anybody in the room, explain that some people had learned to be patient, some people had learned to work in the mala, some people had learned just to take it day by day. So of course, that helps really ground our intentions, or kind of really what we want out of the meeting. In another opportunity and we haven't had this, we have another fun one that says Missy Says, and this has to do with a lot of it about the practice tips, like how we led you through. It would be a Kaleo says, Auntie Missy says, unmute your camera. Auntie Missy says, write something in the chat. This helps opportunities for ʻOhana members and families that may not have the opportunity or be as avid at using these technological platforms. And this is just some things the same way that we're doing them here with you today to help them lead to it. Now, we also had another opportunity where we played with Uncle Grant in the last session. We had a virtual Pilina Builder of Pictionary, and we, even in our learning, that depending on the platform, there might be struggles and might be challenges, but we encourage you guys to take take these ideas and make them your own and make it to the best to suit your folks' meeting. Now, what I'm really excited for, and I'll be honest, I've been waiting for this for a few days. We have Auntie Missy coming to the stage, which is a lot of fun, and we're going to give her a few minutes to set up as I kind of talk about what we're going to be doing. But what we're going to be doing is a fun Pilina Builder, which is really about charades. Now, we are familiar with this game, and again, a lot of these things that we're presenting for you folks today is an opportunity to take back and make it your own. You guys will have all this information in the the conference resources that are provided for you. So again, we invite you just to play and play, stay and play. So without further ado, playing our virtual Pilina Builder of charades, we're gonna welcome Auntie Missy and give her a nice virtual round of applause. All right.
Mahalo.
Good job.
So mahalo everyone, welcome to Charades, and mahalo to Kaleo for taking us through those wonderful tech tips. So hopefully everybody has their camera on, because we're going to need cameras on, but mute your mic please, so that we can get our game started. So I've asked a few friends to help me act out a few clues today, and you'll be given a few seconds to put your guess in the chat when the person gives the clue. And remember to keep your mic muted so that you can see the person acting. The video in the virtual platform really zeroes in on the person who is unmuted. So if we give our actor that chance to unmute their mic, then you can see them really clearly on the screen. Another thing Kaleo talked about was the Pilina piece. And this is a really good way. We're so virtual away from each other. And you know, normally you play charades in person. But this gives us a chance to read body language, kind of get to see what the other person is creating and get to know that person a little bit better. Because sometimes just be watching body language tells us a lot about each other. So we really encourage you to play this game of charades with Keiki and adults of all ages. So anyway, let's begin. The first category that we're gonna use is animals, okay? And I've asked my friends to help me with some clues. So I am going to ask Kaleo to get started first, and I'm gonna send him a clue. And like Grant had said earlier, like you can send clues through messages, but another way Grant talked about earlier was with our Keiki, if you wanna have them cover their eyes, turn around so they don't see the screen, and you can actually hold up a clue like this, then they can see it, and then you can tell them, okay, turn around everybody, and our clue giver will give the clue. But Kaleo, are you makoko? Because I'm gonna let Kaleo unmute his mic. Everybody stay muted, and when we get it, we'll let people know that, hey, you got it, okay? All right.
I am makoko, Missy, when you are ready.
Take it away, my friend.
Okay. The first charade that Auntie Missy has set up for us now, and I'm gonna try my best. Here we go, everybody. Are you ready? This is the guess. Open up your chat boxes like Auntie Missy said. Who can get it first? Here we go. The first charade is
okay, everybody, get your answers in the chat.
and we have winners. All right. Thank you, everybody. Oh, good job. That means I acted out pretty well. And I didn't get whiplash.
It's a moa or a chicken. The next friend I'm going to ask to help us, and I'm going to send this to my friend. Okay, Adana, are you makoko?
Yes, Missy, I'm ready.
Take it away.
Okay.
Okay, kavehi, Carpio, got it. Kavena, mai ka'i, I see fish. Mai ka'i no, Vinola, all right. Okay, mahalo no Edana, got some fish going, awesome. All right, my next friend, Pilina, are you makoko?
Hi,
Oh, you got the clue? Okay, here we go. Take it away. Oh, I think Kim got it, Kim. Oh, the little kavehi, my ka'i. No, oh, you guys are fast. Awesome, people. Oh, you guys are good at charades. Terrific. Okay, my ka'i no. Charades game for now, and I am going to hand it over back to our wonderful MC Kaleo. Mahalo nui, everybody. Good job. Give yourselves a round of applause.
Good job, everybody. Amazing. See, even I had to turn back on my camera and unmute my mic. So again, ladies and gentlemen, if it happens tomorrow, it's a learning. It's okay. So as you can find, let's give Missy a round of applause for a great charades game. That's always a lot of fun. And as you guys can see, I had my practice. You know, I had to make sure I had my, you know, I seen guys Kauai chicken. So apparently we could even get to a region or a vahipana where, you know, we had the specific moa. So maybe my acting, I have a talent, maybe at Hawaii 5-0. But anyway, I really want to thank you guys. We're super excited. And of course, we are so very grateful to have you folks join us today for this opportunity to practice. We have about 5 more minutes left. At this time, you know, we just want to review and let everybody know if we do have any questions, you guys are able to email ohanaengagement@kspe.edu. And for those of you guys that are still feeling a little bit hesitant about what we practiced today, we're inviting you to join us back for our last session beginning here in about 5 minutes, where we're going to be going through the tech tips. We'll kind of have our practice time, and hopefully, again, we get to play some Pilina builders. And again, we want to thank Uncle Grant and Auntie Missy for all the great work and putting those together and participating with us because, again, like Missy was talking about, it's really the opportunity to build Pilina during this time in this virtual platform to not only know the tech tips and kind of to make us feel makau and ready for tomorrow, but really have that opportunity to learn about each other. And what we learned about this group is you guys are good with charades. There's no problem. I mean, we start acting on and you guys got it. Where some of the other ones that we've given in the past, I'll be honest, Auntie Missy has given me some tough ones to act out before, and we've had fun trying to guess them. So again, please go ahead and make these experiences your own. We encourage you guys to check it out as soon as that we do post those up for you folks in the conference resource folders that you guys will have all access to being registered. And again, we really want to thank you guys for your time in joining us today. On behalf of our team, our ʻOhana engagement team, our Department of Ke'alapono, and of course, Kamehameha Schools and the rest of our collaborators making this experience possible, we really want to thank you for sharing this space with us, sharing this time with us, and the opportunity to practice. Again, if you guys have other kuleana to attend to, we invite you guys to sign off now. We bid you a farewell and a mahalo nui, and we will see you guys tomorrow, promptly at 9 o'clock, starting with, of course, Anakala Pono Shin. So if you are signing off and you are feeling pretty good about the tech stuff for tomorrow, we bid you an ahui ho and a mahalo and a ma'alama pono. And we'll see you folks tomorrow. Again, thank you to the rest of our team for supporting all the great tips. And thank you for all of our volunteers who have played the game and made this a great, great experience. What we'll go ahead and do, like I said, we'll take a quick 3-minute break for our team. We'll let everybody go use the restroom as we kind of pull into our last series again, starting at 12:30. For those of you guys that are staying on with us, we invite you to stick around as we again go over our tech tips, review some of the things helpful for our experience tomorrow, and prepare us for anything that may come up. Again, for any of you guys that are signing up, please go ahead and reach out ʻOhana Engagement at ksbe.edu for any of those questions or concerns that you might have. Where our technology peoples and awesome that are amazing and awesome will be there to support and help. And again, if you guys are leaving us, ahui ho. For the rest of our team, we have a quick 2-minute break and you guys can come back and everybody can go. And again, thanks to Trisha. For those of you guys that are just joining us, fear not, we're going to be starting again at about 12:30. Our team has been running a few of these sessions, and of course, we need time to go to the lua. So for those of you guys that are signing on, stick around. We'll be right back. Aloha, welcome. I'm Kaleo Puana. I will be the steward and host for our experience today for a family fun, tip time, and of course, we'll be starting up again in just about 3 minutes. So we invite you to kind of go get a snack, go use the lua, make some water, and of course, we'll be back with you. Mahalo again for everybody's participation. Aloha, if you guys are just signing on, we'll be right back, everybody. Everybody's just taking a quick lua break, and our last session will be starting up in just a few minutes. So if you guys are just signing on, we invite you to stick around. We'll be starting in 2 minutes as people just use the lua, get some water, and of course, we'll begin our session. Again, thank you so much for joining us. My name is Kaleo Puana. I will be our host for today's experience, and we'll be beginning about 12:30, just a few minutes, if not 2 minutes, as our ʻOhana and some of our members are using the lua. So again, thank you for your patience, and we'll be right back to see you guys. Again, mahalo.
Okay.
Aloha kakaya kakako. Or it's not even the morning anymore. It's in the afternoon. I apologize. Aloha kako. My name is Kaleo Puana. We welcome everybody for joining us today. For those of you guys just joining us, we're going to be starting just a few minutes. Some of the team, of course, have to use the lua. They're going to be coming back and we'll be getting started. For those of you guys that are brand new to our sessions, welcome. We're super excited to have you. For those of you guys that have continued from our last session, thank you very much for sticking around. That means to us that we are somewhat beneficial and helpful for you folks, or at least you guys want to play the games with us. So that we're very fortunate and of course have the honor to have you folks. I'm going to be giving our team just a few more seconds as everybody comes back on. And of course, we'll get started talking a little bit about our tech tips for today, along with some of the things making us call for tomorrow's experience of the live conference. As you guys can see, some of our friends will be multiple things going on in my brain. Sorry, folks. Some of our other friends will be signing on, and so people will slowly be entering the room. So we're going to give us a little bit of grace as we do that. Again, for those of you guys that are just joining us, we're super excited to have you guys. Welcome. Aloha, my name is Kaleo Puana. I will be the host for us today. We'll be beginning in just a few seconds as we let a few of our friends sign back in and return from the lua and the restrooms. Today's opportunity is just really a practice time to learn some of the virtual platform that we're using, some of the tech tips that we have for you folks, and of course, making sure everybody feels ma'akaukau for tomorrow's experience of the conference. So here we go. Well, welcome back, ladies and gentlemen. Again, my name is Kaleo Puana. I am so fortunate and honored to be able to represent our ʻOhana engagement team as part of Kealapona, and of course, Kamehameha Schools, and along with the rest of the collaborators that have made this experience possible to bring you both today and tomorrow. We want to welcome you guys to our fall 2020 Virtual ʻOhana Engagement Conference Sandbox. So aloha kako. We are excited to have you here. Thank you for sharing our space. Here we go. As you folks can see, the very first thing that we want to share with you folks is if you guys are having any issues whatsoever, we have an amazing support team that is signed on here today, and of course will be tomorrow for any tech tips or any difficulties that we might be having. So if you have any problems right now, or of course signing in or any of the things that we talk about today, we invite you to reach out to ʻOhana Engagement at ksbe.edu, where we have some amazing individuals there who will be there to help answer any questions, and of course, any specific questions utilizing the platform or maybe even the device that you may be having. Now, the things that we might share with you today is like, hey, Kaleo, that doesn't look the same on my screen, or that doesn't seem the same. It's absolutely okay. That's what we're here for today, is to kind of work out some of that problems that some of us may experience so that we're feeling good about tomorrow and being familiar with what we're having. So, of course, if you guys have any concerns, please go ahead and email ʻOhana Engagement at ksbe.edu, and we'll be happy to help you there. Also, if you get kicked out any part of today's practice session, fear not, you go ahead and click right back on the link that originally admitted you into the room, and you guys will just jump right back into the room at the point that we're at. So you guys will be just joining. If for some reason you get kicked out and you miss something, go ahead and write it in the chat box. And then, of course, one of our friends will help us there. Or, of course, you're welcome to go ahead and email. But if something happens really quick, I'm sure some of our friends in here will be able to address the situation live at the chat. So again, welcome. The very first slide that we have here today was created by Auntie Trisha, and this is kind of a fun way to remember it. It's our ʻOhana Engagement version of the hear no evil, see no evil, speak no evil. But of course, here with Uncle Kaleo, it's Uncle Kaleo, we don't want to hear you no more. I gotta mute your mic. So the first emoji that Auntie Trisha has created is something that helps us remind us to mute our microphone. What we're gonna do, and like I said, this is an opportunity for us to practice and an opportunity for us to go through some of those troubleshooting that we might have tomorrow. So what I'm gonna ask you folks to do is I'm gonna give us a few seconds to somewhere scroll on our screen and look for an icon that looks similar to the one that Trisha has already found for us that says mute your microphone. Now, it's the mute your microphone and unmute your microphone would be the same button. It's, of course, you toggle it once or twice, or you click it one time to turn it on, click it one time to turn it off. No matter where this is on your screen, we're going to try and locate it. For some of us, it might be high on the screen. For some of us, it might be low on the screen. For some of us using Apple devices, you might have to physically touch the screen so that it reappears. We've been noticing that depending on personal settings, they might have, depending on internet, you guys might have taskbars that disappear. And of course, that being a taskbar will disappear with it also. So if you are not seeing this mute the microphone, you might actually want to touch your screen to bring that up. And it might be somewhat, not a hidden option, but something that, you know, goes to the background. So again, what we're going to practice doing is I want everybody, now that we have a few minutes, to find your microphone. As you guys can hear, our volume and our sound, I'm hoping sounds pretty clear to you folks, because only my microphone is turned on. If we had multiple microphones turned on, we would be picking up the sound, of course, on everybody's background. We would hear the construction workers in the back, the dogs barking. For those of us on Kauai, we would hear the moas crowing. You know, we'd have a whole lot of things going on. But of course, we want to make it as isolated as possible. What I want us to practice doing is, for those of us that have already found our mute your mic and the microphone button, on the count of 5, I'm going to ask you to unmute your mic and start talking about anything that you want, a daily activity. I want you to start talking about what you had for lunch. Really, the purpose is I want you to hear the difference between the sound quality of when one person's microphone is isolated, and of course, when we have multiple microphones that are on, so that even you being a part of our conference tomorrow will recognize yourself. You're like, oh, that's not my phone that's having the problem. It must be somebody's microphone that is unmuted. So I'm going to count to 5. Everybody get my call. Let's put your cursor or your finger over that mute button. And what we're going to do is, on the count of 5, I'm going to ask you guys to unmute yourself and start talking about lunch. Start talking about what you see outside, just so that you can hear what it sounds like behind you. Are you guys ma cow? Here we go. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Everybody unmute their microphone and start talking.
Hello.
Hello there.
To the flag of the United States of America, and to the republic for which.
Amazing, ladies and gentlemen. But as you guys can see, I have the ability to mute everybody. So if tomorrow's presentation you find yourself being muted by accident, don't feel offended or don't be alarmed. We do recognize that in the process of sometimes getting kicked out and having to sign back in, or some things that happen, maybe we even forget to remute or unmute our mics. Our team will be able to do that, so that you guys will hear the difference where it was just my mic unmuted and when everybody was talking in the background. Now, it will help the presenter, along with helping you folks be able to hear, and of course, have the presentation most understandable. So of course, now that we know the difference and you guys been able to isolate it, please don't be alarmed. Or if you hear that tomorrow, our team will be able to help. If when you sign on, you forget to mute yourself, don't worry. Like I said, we'll have the opportunity to help out. And again, if you find yourself that our team does mute your mic, please don't feel offended. We just know that maybe somebody had forgot, because we often forget ourselves. Continuing right along is our next tech tip for the day, and one of the most important, because we know in this digital world, sometimes we don't know what's going on behind us. With me, not too bad because it's the white wall, but for those of you guys that are living in your household, some of you mamas or daddies, you guys might be doing chores or multitasking and having the young keiki run behind you. That's absolutely fine. We understand that this is a family engagement conference. We understand that everybody is here for the same reasons of uplifting our ʻOhana and uplifting everybody's ʻOhana. So if that happens, please don't feel alarmed and don't get upset. And we don't have to scold our keiki by any means by doing that, or even our husbands or our spouses, right? You go, hey babe, get out of the picture. I still in a meeting. It's okay. So we understand life happens, but we want to at least let you guys know that if it does happen, everybody's going to be able to see it. Right now, we only have a few friends in our room. We have less than 25, but in tomorrow's experience, we might have several hundred in your room. So just be conscious that whatever people are seeing on your screen, everybody will be able to see. Now, that doesn't mean we don't want to encourage you folks not to share your screen, because we like to see faces, and I'm sure that a lot of the presenters want to see all your amazing faces and see who chose to join them today. So we encourage you to share your screen. Or maybe like many of us do, we turn it on for a little while and maybe turn it off for a little while, and it helps cycle everybody so we see pictures. But again, we encourage you guys just to realize that there's things going on behind you that might be seen by everybody. So in the same kind of practice as we did before, and now this time we're not going to ask you guys to unmute your mic or do anything like how we did last time, but really what I want you guys to do is on your screen and inside your device, I would like you all to look for the screen button that looks like the camera check button or the turn camera on. Long as we know how to, if you want to try, you know, even with me, I'll turn mine off, I'll turn mine on. We see that it works. It takes a little bit while, so don't be alarmed. You know, you may hear it, but if it happens on your side, just know that people are be able to see behind you, and we encourage it. I'm sure a lot of people like to see faces, so please don't think we're in any way discouraging you to do so. We just want to make sure that you're aware that things are going to be happening. So if you guys want to try, for those of you, I see some of our friends, I want to, if you guys will give you guys 5 seconds to practice turning on and turning off your camera prior to me moving on. If you guys want, I see a few of our friends practicing off and on. Great job, friends. Awesome. And it's just to see that it kind of takes over. And again, if there's a slight delay between the time you click the button to the time it pops on, just give it a little bit. I'm sure, you know, with everything bandwidth and, you know, internet-wise, it just takes a little bit. Amazing job, everybody. Moving on along. Now, tomorrow, we know that because we have a lot of people possibly a lot of people signed up, we have the ability, or we won't have the ability to reach everybody on a personal level or talking to them. So we want to make sure that if people do have questions and people do have anything or comments, that we do find the chat box. We're going to encourage everybody to use the chat conversation to be posting up any updates, any thoughts, any things. You know, a lot of the times they're throwing mahalos to the presenters. A lot of times people are even putting connections. You know, they're making connections in this chat box. That's absolutely fine, and we encourage you folks to do so because the presenters are wanting to see that. That's really what is giving them that feedback also, that you guys are engaged and really getting a lot of it. So if there's things and thoughts that you have, we invite you to put on this chat box. Now, please understand that if you put a question in the chat box, that question may not be specifically addressed during the presenter at that time, but all of those questions will be compiled and gathered and returned to the presenter later. So today we know it's not that big of a deal because if you have questions, you're emailing the ʻOhana engagement at kspe.edu. But I see some of us putting things in the chat, asking simple questions, and that's amazing. We can do that tomorrow, and that's what we want you guys to do. We really liked when people are putting up the mahalos and sending their alohas to the presenters. That makes them feel real good. So that's the space that we've reserved for that time and for that activity. So on your screen, what I'm going to invite you guys to do now, and like I said, depending on the device, we might have to touch the screen again to make it show up, is just find that chat button. What I'm also going to ask you guys to do is, if you do have that chat button, if you would write a message to the rest of us that are in this room. That's so that you guys can practice in. If you guys did find the chat button, you guys see that, oh, thank you, Robin. Hey, thank you. I appreciate it. Oh, Kavena, perfect. You guys are finding it. So we just want to make sure that people know that the option is there. Now, if you folks, again, ask a question that is not addressed, just know that our team is there and we will be gathering those questions to turn over to the presenter. Or again, if it's a tech question, we'll make sure that we can address it on the side, or we might even contact you that way. But again, if there's anything that you would like to get out, sending your mahalos or the alohas for whatever it may be, that is the space that we're going to be using, is the chat box. Excellent job, everybody. So as a quick reminder, this is the kind of our teams, our fun ʻOhana engagement team, our quick reminder. And this is even something that sometimes we throw up in the beginning of our own meetings because we oftentimes forget and sometimes we need reminders. So again, whatever you guys can take away from this and make it your own, we encourage you guys to do it. You guys can make your own version of kind of the reminders. But of course, with Auntie Tricia, she was so helpful in providing for us the mute your microphone, the check your camera to make sure that you're aware of if it's on or not. And then, of course, the last one being about the chat box, okay? Some of the following tech tips that we're going to talk about is really just for certain individuals, and I'll let you know if you qualify or not qualify, but if you fall within these categories. And you don't want to fall within these categories, so it's okay. If you happen to work at Kamehameha Schools or have a full version of Microsoft Teams, meaning that you know, it's something that maybe an organization had installed on a computer, or maybe, you know, people had requested from the DOE, whatever it may be. If you have the full version, which people at Kamehameha Schools, our friends at Kamehameha Schools do, but if you're a guest of Kamehameha Schools or in the DOE or just an individual signing on, you may not have to even worry about these things. And that's actually where we want to be. Next text tips is really to kind of in case you do have these buttons, we don't want you to touch them. So thinking about the share screen button, we all have been in digital platform share outs where the presenter shares the screen. Similar to what I'm doing now is you guys see the PowerPoint while you guys see the little screen and me talking. What we want to avoid doing at all possible is if you do see a sharing button. Now, on our screen, it looks like a square with a little arrow. If you don't see that button, that's perfect. That's actually where we need you to be. That way we don't have to worry about hitting it by chance or even making the mistake of cutting off the presenter. What will happen if we do see that, and this is even for some of our friends at Kamehameha Schools, if we do hit that presenting button while somebody else is talking, they will take control. So for instance, if one of you guys were tired, like Kaleo, your text tips, we're done with this and I don't want to hear you anymore, and you were to hit that share button, you would actually take full control of the meeting. And a lot of times that's not where people want to be. So if you like to be like some of us and low key in the back and kind of listening and paying along and paying attention and following along, we just want to, as much as possible, avoid that sharing button. And again, if you do not see anywhere on your screen what looks like a little computer screen with an arrow in it, then we do not have to worry. You do not have to even worry about that share screen. It's a lot, like I said, it's for certain individuals that may be signing on with us tomorrow. Another option that you guys may or may not see on your screen is the raise hand button. I noticed some of you on some of our participants, you have been raising your hands, asking questions. Now, this is a great opportunity to signify to a team or our team member that maybe there's a comment in the chat, or maybe you have something specific that you wanted us to address. But just know that questions will not necessarily go straight to the presenter, and that it's going to be compiled for later. So if you guys do raise your hand, you know, that will signify even, to our team member that somebody needs assistance or something needs to happen. We'll check that, and most likely we'll lower your hand. If you just had a comment or something happened, a comment, and you just happen to have your hand up, it's okay. Again, our team will have the ability to lower it in case we forget. And if we do lower it, please do not feel offended to say that we don't think that your question is valid or we don't want to hear it, because we do. What it means is we've seen your question, we've captured it for you, and make sure that we'll be able to pass it on. And that's really where we want to make sure everybody's feeling that we don't want anybody to feel that we're just disregarding their thoughts. They're going to be gathered, and because of the numbers and because of the opportunities tomorrow, we just want to make sure that we help everybody stay on task. Like I said, if you raise your hand question, we'll definitely look at it, we'll definitely see it, and we'll lower your hand. If you guys do raise your hand and you're like, oh my God, I didn't want to do that, that was an accident, to lower your hand, you hit that same button. So the raise your hand and lower your hand is that same icon that kind of looks like that, if you guys see it. Again, if you don't see it, absolutely fine. It's not a problem. It's not necessary for any of our experiences for tomorrow. Again, if there's anything that we're discussing at this current time, or like, I'm a little confused about this last part that Khalil was speaking of, please go ahead and email ohanaengagement@kspe.edu, and we'll go ahead and get those addressed for you. The last kind of slide that we just want to, of course, take a look at is just reminding everybody that our mics will be muted tomorrow. We will mute you if you sign on and there's background noise. And of course, because we've had that experience, we all know the difference between only one person and having a lot of people. We're going to be using our chat box to give any alohas, to ask any questions, to say hi to anybody that we might see, to give all of our presenters that, the congratulations and our gratitude, whatever that may be. We're going to make sure that we're in the chat box so that our team and whoever can gather that and make sure that the presenters see. And of course, the last friendly tip that we have to review is, with the technology being sometimes faulty and, going in and out, if you do get kicked out, don't be alarmed. Take a deep breath. We all go through it. We know it's so very frustrating, especially in the middle of something we feel that we're missing. Take a deep breath, sign back on using that same link, and it'll hop you back into that room. The one exception will be if for some reason you get kicked out and that breakout session is full. you will not be allowed to get back in the breakout session, but we invite you to join another. We have made enough space and we have made enough opportunity so that everybody will have a seat tomorrow somewhere in our conference and at some opportunity hearing the great mana'o that all of our presenters have to share. So it's just a matter of, if you don't necessarily get your first choice, it's absolutely okay. If you get kicked out, we welcome you to sign back on to another choice and still join us for the day. All right. So for those of you that were joining us from the very beginning, this is kind of the most fun part. We invite you, for those of you guys that are feeling confident in the tech tips that we're giving us, and you do have other kuleana to get to, we invite you to sign off now, and we bid you a fond farewell and we a great mahalo. But if you have a few more minutes to share with us, we'd love for you to stick around, because we really are wanting to share with you some of the most important things that our team does, and we encourage you folks to do in making some of these kind of virtual experiences fun. For those of you guys that joined us the first round back at 11 o'clock, we played a virtual Pilina game just to get to know one another a little bit better, where I read a statement and I asked about various foods that we ended up eating during COVID that maybe made the opus a little bit more full. I gave the example of I ate too much ice cream. You know, we even talked about it's a great way to learn things from, you know, your cohort of individuals by, during our time at COVID, our ʻOhana has learned to do what? So of course we asked for a few volunteers, and they're so graciously playing with us to, you know, report that their ʻOhana learned to work in the mala and to be patient with each other, and we learned that to take days in stride and things like that. So it really does help us learn about the group and ground us for the day. So with our team, we really enjoyed these opportunities and this time spent. So we took part of that, Pilina. We also played a version of Missy Says, where we led, and this is for maybe those families that may not be as tech savvy, similar to the experience that we provided here for you today. You guys also could do something that we call Missy Says, and of course, it's just leading our ʻOhana through similar activities that we did today, where they can practice some of these skills that they might need for your specific platform or for your specific use. We also played an amazing game with Uncle Grant where we drew Pictionary, and we even learned as a team that sometimes using different platforms, we run into different situations. We know that in whatever platform is the best suited or the one that we most use frequently for our organization, that we have to play around and get accustomed to it, but there are some great advantages to exploring. One advantage of that is, of course, the game that Grant played with us earlier with. It's a Pictionary game where, of course, we had individuals draw and people write in the chat to guess, practicing the skills that we learned, also having being able to change it up to use it for kids, you know, to make it appropriate to whatever your audience was. The last game that we're going to land on, and not to put Auntie Missy on the spot again, but we played the last version, and I think was one of the was the charades. Now, for those of you guys that have already joined us for the first session, you're not allowed to guess, because some of the questions will be the same or some of the hints will be the same. But with the few minutes that we do have remaining with you folks, I would love Auntie Missy to join with us so she can play our version of charades. Of course, for those of you guys that have played before, Auntie Missy will be starting the game by giving us a category, and other of us that will be volunteering to help will be acting it out. So without further ado, let's give Auntie Missy a round of applause as she leads us through our last final session for the few minutes of charades. Thank you, Auntie Missy.
Mahalo, Kaleo. You're doing a great job. Thanks for sharing all those tech tips. And I think we're makauka for charades. I got some friends to help with the clues. And even if you went to the earlier sessions, there's going to be a whole new set of clues to get ready for, my friends. Again, with the charades, it's a great game to play with people of all ages, your keiki, kupuna, whoever, because it's a good way to develop that idea of reading each other, because we're so virtual and apart. It's a nice chance to kind of get to see creativity and be able to connect with people in a nonverbal way, because sometimes it's so hard to do that, but this is that virtual experience you can have. Also, if you folks can all mute your mics, what we're going to do is when I give the clue, or when I give the actor, the person who's going to act out the clue, a chance to go and do it, they're going to unmute their mic, and that way it'll get them to zero in on your screen. And so please mute all of your mics. And I think we are makauka and ready to go. So I am going to ask you folks to think about, when they do the clues, common activities that people do or common actions that people do. And I'm going to ask Kaleo to do his activity or action. Kaleo, are you Makaukau? You got to turn on your mic, Kaleo.
I am Makaukau, Missy, when you are Makaukau.
All right, so the rest of us who are watching Kaleo will need to type our answer in the chat and just get a few seconds to do that, and then we're going to start the next round. So, and acknowledge the people that got that answer. Okay, all right, Kaleo, I think you are ready to go. We're ready to go. Take it away.
All right, here we go. The first action is
start to put your answer in the chat, people. Just take a guess. Whatever you do is great. Wow, you guys are pretty quick. Oh my goodness. My kaino. Oh, Claire, you did an awesome job of acting because everybody who put in their answer got it polole or correct. Wow. And
mahalo.
Awesome. Mahalo. Okay. I'm going to ask Edana to do her action next. Are you Makaukau, Edana?
Ready.
Okay, take it away. Okay, gang, start putting your answers in the chat. Oh, you guys are right on it. Awesome. Mai kaino. Mahalo nui, Edana. You're a great actress. Awesome. Okay. All right. I'm going to ask Grant to do his action. Are you Makaukau, Grant? Take it away, Grant.
Yes, I'm ready. Okay. Nobody's writing. Boys are guessing. Oh, yeah. Perfect.
Oh, you guys got it right away. You were awesome. Awesome. Okay, a couple of things. Mahalo nui, Grant. You guys are awesome, and so did the people watching. Just a couple of things to make it almost non-techy. One of the things that Grant did in his dictionary is to show us that you can actually send a text or some kind of message to people, to the person who is the actor, and that way, you know, not everybody will see the answer, but just that person. So you can use your phone and text that person, or maybe find a way to message them privately to do that. Another way to do it with Keiki and just without any tech is have them cover their eyes, like Trisha's cover their eyes, Auntie Trisha's cover their eyes, or have them turn around so that they're not looking, and you tell them, okay, I'm gonna have you folks turn around except for the actor has to look, and you're gonna hold up, you're gonna hold up a clue on the screen so the actor can see it and then take it away and then have everybody play the game. So that's just a no tech way of doing it, but you can have a lot of fun. So I want to turn it back over to Kaleo to finish our session off. Mahalo nui for playing. Have a great one.
Awesome job. Let's give Auntie Missy and all of our participants a round of applause. That's a lot of fun. That's a lot of fun. Well, we really want to thank you guys for sharing this time and space with us. We want to make sure that everybody's feeling comfortable. Again, if you have no questions or if you have questions that have yet to be addressed, please go ahead and email ohanaengagement@ksbe.edu, and we'll be on there for a little while longer answering whatever tech questions that you guys may have. If you guys are feeling very comfortable with all the techs, we really thank you and mahalo you for sharing the space on behalf of our Ohana engagement team, our department Ke'alapono, and of course, all of our leaders and collaborators